Well, the genre is one that works. People go out and see horror movies these days, but I was really excited that this one, kind of used that platform as a way to explore some pretty intense, pretty deep sort of themes, such as losing a child and afterlife and spirituality and so it was exciting that it was shot in India. It takes place in India, where their relationship with the dead and the spirituality is so so long standing and has such depth. So there was a lot to be excited about it. Johannes and the creative team, they kind of used some mythology, some religious mythology from different religions that are in India, and they kind of explored that sort of the relationship that the Mirtas have with the dead, and the relationship between the living and the dead in India has always been something that's been so ever since back from the Mughals' time when Taj Mahal was built. This person spent so much of his life creating a temple for his dead wife, and so a culture that that puts death at such a high priority, I think was the perfect place to set a story that deals with death in this way. There's a connection with the dead. There's a connection with the spirit world that that from my perspective as an American, there's some real distance. We separate life and death through a very kind of a very clean hospital type world, so that there's a real distance there, and when you kind of muddy that line a little bit and connect them more, that I feel is kind of a part of India's culture. There's more of a willingness to let yourself accept something that's not that's hard to grasp. And Maria in this story, she once she starts getting an idea of the fact that she's brought her son's spirit back, she's able to kind of evolve with that notion in a much more fluid way, partially because of the grief that she's going through, and the how much that's messed her up, and also because of the culture's grayer lines. What I do know is that every shot was beautiful, and it wasn't hard to find sort of profound images and imagery wherever you went, wherever you shot, and so that was amazing. And the driving was tough. There was so many cars and so much honking, and there was a real intense sort of dynamic that you had to get used to. No straight lines in India. Everything is, and so I think all in all, it was a pretty useful place to shoot a film like this. You can't build the sets that really, kind of have that same, just. It's every curve of every wall has history behind it. There's coming from America, where it's a fairly young country, to have that kind of history etched into each frame is really exciting. Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, there are a couple that both feel inclined to move somewhere that is completely a strange land for them, different than how they grew up, and start a family there. And that's a very specific type of person. There's a romantic notion in that for sure, but like when I was having kids, my feeling was that I wanted to, kind of rein it in a bit, make sure I knew what ground I walked on. So as characters already, they were intriguing to me. And then, when you lose a child, everyone goes through that kind of grief on their own, in their own way. And so Michael, my character, really was trying to deal with it on his own, and with the full knowledge that his wife was having perhaps an even harder time than him. And so it became a sort of a double sort of challenge for the character. Yeah, it's a complicated situation, but I don't think there was anywhere in the script or in the movie where my character questions her, her goodness or her ability to have saved our son. I don't blame her, and I don't, and I have faith that we're going to get through it. But that faith is partially just willpower, because when you're in the midst of that, it feels like there's no way you're gonna get out and fight your way through with the family and have good times again. But he is firm on that, on sticking to it until that happens. So. She had a tough job. I mean, she had to hold the film on her shoulders, and she did a great job. So she was it's exhausting, but yeah. A movie like this, I hope it does really well, because that sort of expands what the theaters and the studios start thinking that people want to see. But yeah, I think there's room for all of it. There's room for fun horror movies that don't, it's definitely an intense experience, and we're not trying to hide that, obviously, with the thing. It's fun if you like to get scared, but it's not like it's not like Scream, or it's not like a fun horror movie where you're going to jump and you're also going to laugh. This is an intense drama as a horror movie.